All right. I think we are good. Mm. Just for a little bit. Going in the right spot. All right. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Hopefully you can hear me. Do an audio check.
And oh, what the?
Yeah, I think that's okay. Let me see something. Tested it over here. Test this out again.
And oh, what the?
Okay.
And oh, what the?
Okay. All right. I probably should turn it down just a little bit. I think we're okay. I think we're okay. All right. Good deal. Yeah. So I came across this video yesterday. I think Yungjamez, he had uploaded this yesterday. In fact, I've followed this dude for a good while. I saw a lot of his vlogs and stuff where he just kind of shoots the stuff regarding his time in Japan and stuff that he's learned. And I actually like his content, but to see him get blindsided like that, I am not surprised that happened. And the reason why I say I'm not surprised that happened is because stuff like this tends to happen in that part of Japan with these certain types of individuals here. All right, so in fact, let me take a look at the whole thing, then I'll give you my thoughts on this.
And oh, what the? It's crazy because you come to Japan and oh,
I'm glad.
oh, what?
新宿で友達を待ちながら普通にいつもの YouTube 動画撮ってたんですけど、いきなり後ろから強く殴られました。フルド
His Japanese has gotten really good. See, this is what you do whenever you go to a new area. You you got to learn the language, right? And he's done such a fantastic job of doing that.
動画はこんな感じです。
I'm out here in Kabukicho, not necessarily happy about it, not really loving it. Kabukicho isn't my favorite place anymore. Back when I first came to Japan, I thought Kabukicho was so interesting. Because in America, we don't have anything like this, like a red light district. Of course, if it was in America with all the people that have guns and the crazy, super violent people, I'm sure people would be getting shot and all types of drugs, and people would be stealing from each other. It would be just absolute chaos.
You know, that actually, hearing him say that actually reminds me of a spot in Dallas, in downtown Dallas, called Deep Ellum, and it was at one point like the really kind of shady part of Dallas. I mean, it still is kind of like that, but not as much as it used to be. You know, because it got gentrified like crazy the last time I went there. But what he's talking about that areas like that, yeah, they do exist, and yeah, you do have some very shady and dangerous people that do frequent spots like that.
Not that and people would be stealing from each other. It would be just absolute chaos. Not that Kabukicho isn't chaotic in its own right, but I feel like if there was something like this in America, it would just be an absolute and too dangerous really for any civilized person to enjoy. But it's crazy because you come to Japan and oh, what?
で振り向いたら4、5人の男の人たちに囲まれて怒鳴られていて、正直かなり怖かったです。だからそのまま警察に行きましたが、犯人は見つかりませんでした。
Of course, they didn't find a suspect. Of course, they didn't, because what I come to understand about dealing with police in East Asia, whether it be South Korea or Japan, is that, well, much like police officers here too, a lot of them, they don't want to have to go through any paperwork dealing with assault like that, unless it's something that they know that they absolutely positively have to do, or if they're really given the directive to even do so, um, by their superiors. And if it's anything involving foreigners, like in Japan, if it's anything involving foreigners, unless if it's foreigner on foreigner violence, you're not going to really get much help from the police, and unless it's like a murder or something. But even with that, though, they're still going to kind of put that on the wayside just a bit. But for something like that, for assault, the police definitely are not gonna get him. Like like James, he even clearly showed the guy what he looked like, what he dressed up, the way he dressed, and the police said, "Now we're not." The police essentially said, "Now we're not going to deal with this at all."
歌舞伎町には夜になると外国人を狙う悪質な客引きが結構多くてさ、巻き込まれると超危ないので気をつけてください。日本は本当に安全な国で、こうして安心して暮らせることに感謝してます。でも歌舞伎町だと油断はできないって今回はすっごく実感しました。皆さんも本当に気をつけてください。
Yeah, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Like, hold on, let me. Yeah, like in Kabukicho, you are unfortunately gonna have to deal with certain type of foreigners. And I'll go up and say it. A lot of the Nigerians that live in Japan, they they really put themselves in a terrible, terrible they have a really bad reputation, unfortunately, whenever it comes to anything that they do over there. Wait, hold on a second, y'all. I need to fix something right quick. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Because a lot of crimes like that, like Nigerians, and you have like choice Nigerians, and that really do stuff like this out in public, unfortunately, which makes it look bad makes it look bad on them, and for a lot of other foreigners as well too, unfortunately, right? And the reason why a lot of them are even there in the first place, can even do that, is because a lot of times, a lot of them they have businesses set up, right? Like I'll never forget the very first time I ever went to Japan. It was Osaka. It was back in 2012, and a lot of them own clothes shops, which I thought was pretty dope. They actually have some really good stuff. They either got clothes shops in around Osaka or around in Tokyo, around Harajuku and stuff. But a lot of times you deal with a lot of Nigerians that also own bars. A lot of them own bars, and a lot of times they'll like try to they'll scam people. And what they do to scam people is they'll try to they'll bring you and say, "Hey, come to our bar." And sometimes they'll even like try to grab you, right? They'll try to grab you and pull you in. I never forget one of my friends back at home. He had he said to some dude that tried to get all familiar and close with him, grab him. He said, "Nigga, get your hands off of me." and and that dude actually backed away, because I find a lot of times if you actually kind of intimidate them, they will back away. But a lot of times though, they will, like what you see in this video. Um, you'll a lot of them will be in groups together, like three or four at a time, and they try to use the power game to their advantage, so that they'll use the power game to their advantage, so that anybody tries to get at them for the stuff that they know they're doing is wrong, nobody's going to do a doggone thing about it, unfortunately. And a lot of times they'll try to go after people that look weak or whatever. But like they'll come to me and be like, "What you gonna do about it? You ain't gonna do nothing about it, right?" Like, in fact, I got a few stories from my time in Kabukicho. The last time, I haven't been there in over a decade. Um, but what I do recall, me and some homies, we were out walking around Kabukicho because I was just like, they were showing me around, and I thought, okay, yeah, this is actually pretty dope. Then you had one of the Nigerian vendors outside um, trying to bring us in to one of his bars. Now, one of the homies I was with, he knew how to really um, kind of make them feel a certain way, make them feel uncomfortable. One of the things that he did was one of those guys came and said, "Hey, you want to come to our bar? Come to our bar." And one of the homies was like, "Oh, you got any?" He talked so gay. I mean, he turned up the gay to 11. He said, "Yeah, man, we'll come to your bar. You got any cute boys over there?" And the guy that was trying to bring us in was just flabbergasted. Like he just did not know what to do because he wasn't expecting that. And so he gets on his little walkie-talkie he said, I deadpan asked, "Yeah, do we have any cute boys at our club, at our bar?" and and we humored this dude some more and said, "You know, F it, let's go, let's see what he has." And so we all go in there and we all like taking a seat. Yeah, we all are taking a seat. And and the same dude that was with us, right, kept humoring this guy. He kept saying, "Where are the cute boys at? Where are the cute boys at?" And then he kept like winking at him, doing all the other stuff, just making him feel mad uncomfortable through it all. And it was quite hilarious to really see and to really witness something like that. But but if you ever think about doing something like that, just know that you're going to run a major risk, and you're going to run like a super major risk in doing so. And I say this because a lot of the times those guys they just will not play with it, and they say, "Hey, look, we don't want you to be messing around with us and stuff." But I will tell you about the time that there was a point where a nightclub actually did get raided, and it was pretty bad because, see, as I said earlier, the police in Japan won't do anything about these scammers unless they do something to Japanese people. Well, those scammers had actually went in and scammed. What did they do? They scammed some people who they thought were another flavor of Asian. They thought that they were like Chinese or Korean. They happen to be Japanese. So they go in. They got screwed. They got scammed. They got screwed up pretty bad. And then they went over to the police. And as soon as the police heard about it, and they showed them all the proof and everything, um, within within a short time they got raided, and just pretty much everyone involved in there was arrested, all in handcuffs, and all taken away. And that club shortly got shut down because of that. So so if you ever want to know why the police doesn't do anything about it, that is why. It's because they do not um care. They do not care if foreigners get hurt. They do not care if anything bad happens to foreigners. That's just the way of the world in Japan regarding that. So that's all I got to say on that. Um, it's been a long time since I actually done a stream on this channel, but hey, thank you all for stopping by and watching. And I guess maybe I'll do more from home, but I'll see you guys next time.